Hello friends, family and other creatures of the sea, and welcome to a best of 3 between Solar and Reynor. And Reynor is indeed playing Protoss here on Torches. Torches is one of the maps on which I think Protoss is extremely powerful as long as you get your block down on your opponent's natural. It's an absolutely huge deal. So we see Reynor going with it. Boom. Fast worker scouts gonna go in for that block, and Solar, for whatever reason, isn't mining out these minerals. Like 85% of the time we watch Torches, we either see straight out this being mined out, or we don't see it. Yeah, Solar's just too late. Question mark. Yeah, you should have been mining this out earlier, mate. Toss. WTF. Oh, I didn't know he picked Toss. That does explain why he didn't mine off the gold minerals. Z, which is a haha in Korean. Reynor right now is in Korea. You didn't mention me, BM. So you didn't mention to me that you were playing Toss. This is bad-mannered. Which, you know, it is poor. It is poor sportsmanship. Why is it BM? It was my map pick. And I selected as soon as I got into the lobby. Ha ha ha. L. Interesting. I mean, I feel like that when someone is picking their off race, it should be made very clear. But at the same time, it is obviously the responsibility of the player playing to know what their opponent's race is as well. It's a hard one. It's a hard one. Especially if you're sitting in the lobby for a little while. I just always check it myself. Like, is the responsibility of the player playing against it? 100%. The other day, I was in Canada for a little while, and we went to a place called the Shawarma Prince in Ottawa. And I went there the first day, and I got a veggie platter, which was it's a dish where you got like grilled eggplant, grilled zucchini, broccoli, cauliflower, then some potatoes with it, and a bit of salad, and you know he tosses it all in a box, and he put like one piece of falafel in there as well for me. And that was the first day I went there. Then the next day I went to get another veggie platter because I tremendously enjoyed it the first day. And the second day the dish changed up completely. I got potatoes, a bit of salad, and 5 pieces of falafel, but I got none of the grilled vegetables, which were the most enjoyable part. Now, if that were to happen in this game, you know, where you order the same thing. So in the lobby, it says Zerg on Reynor's race, but then he actually gets Protoss in game. I feel like Solar has a lot of right to be upset because he's been tricked and there was no way that he could know. Like, I had been tricked at the Shawarma Prince. However, in this case, I feel like there was no trick. And thus, I don't think he has the right to be upset. By the way, the third day I went back again. And at that point, I was really curious what was going to happen if I got another veggie platter. So I got one more veggie platter, and he filled my thing up like to the freaking brim. There's like 2 times the amount of potatoes in there. I got like 6 pieces of falafel. I got all the grilled vegetables. Then on top of that, I got like 2 types of hummus. I got some other garlicky sauce as well that wasn't there any of the other days. And then when I couldn't finish it, I went to get like a bag to put my... my leftover food in. The guy started laughing at me and said, haha, I put way more food in your box today, so I wouldn't think you could finish it. Which I thought was a very interesting practical joke, but probably a pretty poor business model is to trick your customers into giving them so much food that they can't finish it and then charging the same price. But you know what? I appreciated it and had a good time at the Shawarma Prince, so shout out to them. As Reynor here is seriously struggling with the wall in natural, and also it's kind of messing up this thing. The pylon is way too far towards the left, cannot wall off this area. He has a pylon in the wall over here as well. Oracle did get 3 kills, which is nice, but also took a significant amount of damage, which would have been bad if it isn't for this map, because on this map you can just heal up over here, and that is indeed what we see Reynor do. Twilight Council coming in after the 3rd Oracle. So it's Oracle into Twilight Council. That means delayed blink. This Oracle is going to move in. It's going to get a single drone kill, 4 drone kills total. A couple more links on the way here as well right now, as these adepts are stopping these links from doing too much. I think that was 2 or 3 links for a single probe. A very reasonable trade for Reynor in my mind. Like, I don't mind losing a probe for a couple of links, majority of the time. More overlords coming out. Solar, by the way, has been almost exclusively all-inning over the past few months, past 6-7 months or so. I cannot remember Solar playing a whole lot of macro games. I feel like it's also kind of a... If you don't feel comfortable in macro games and then you start all-inning every single game, there is a very small chance that you'll ever get comfortable in macro games again because you're just not practicing it anymore, right? Like, in practice, he seems to be playing a lot of all-ins. In tournaments, he plays a lot of all-ins. It's like, if he ever accidentally ends up in a macro game, it's going to be significantly worse than before. And it's just going to reinforce the belief that he sucks at macro games, or that macro games are hard. I think right now, in Zerg versus Protoss, there are a lot of things that Zerg can do that aren't necessarily all-ins and have a very good success rate. Specifically, Hydra Ling Bane, in my mind, off of higher drone counts, is very, very strong right now. But Solar here is going for a non-evo low gas Hydra attack. This is off of 3 bases with 5 gas. Reynor seems to not be completely aware of that, although he is delaying his outside gases. He's getting a Templar Archive. He's now getting his gases 6 minutes and 16 seconds into the game. But this is all fairly late when it comes to the gases. He has 4 gates total with 2 more on the way. I mean, he only really needs to defend 1 base. He's got a cannon coming out as well already. I think Reynor pretty much has all the information that he needs. I don't quite understand this move out. That just feels like a mistake because he should know he's about to be all-in. He's not aware... Well, he doesn't know if this gas has been taken. He doesn't even know if the lair has finished yet or started. This cannon is now on the way. We get a couple of extra stasis wards. We get a battery in the back, an extra cannon coming in. Storm on the way here too, as... Reynor has a decent Stalker count. Hydra Ling flank. Muscular Augments is on the way. Groove Spines is already finished up. As this fort base is under some heavy pressure. This fort base is extremely late. Solar's going to try to hold this, but at the same time we have a serious Ling Hydra attack coming into the natural. I think this pretty much will force out a recall towards the net. I don't think there's much else that you can do right now. Storm is close to finishing up here as well. Get a little bit of a fight here in the middle of the map. Oracle's flying back home, but the Hydra count here might just be too big. Recharge on the battery as 7 Hydras move in and will depower probably all of these gateways. That is the majority of the gateways that Reynor has. Reynor right now floating about 1,300 minerals. And the only way to spend those minerals is to either repower or to get a couple of cannons out, but it's going to be a tough battle here. Storm is going to finish up in a couple of seconds. Full walling this area, by the way, would not be a luxury. It might actually just be a necessity. Storm number 1 is going to rain down from the skies in the middle of these Hydras. Cannon on the right side being taken out. Battery in the back runs out of energy. We have 1 more storm, 2 more storms available to us right now. Energy recharge coming in soon as well. That is one of the last storms. 2 of these Templar could turn into Archons. Could also just stay around. Recharge available right now. Can we get another storm? Can we get another recharge? What is going on over here? A couple of Zealots being warped in as well. Charge hasn't finished up yet though. And this is our final storm as recharge has been used. Archons will need to be morphed. There's just too much cash in the bank right now for Reynor as Solar's Hydras, even without the upgrades, are packing a very serious punch over here. Hydra Ling moving across the map. Probes being pulled off the line as the worker supply going down to 50 right now for Reynor. And Solar kites further forward. GG gets called and Solar wins game number 1 in this best of 3. Alright, up next we've got... Our second game is going to be played on Taito Citadel, one of the maps from the Team Liquid map contest. And we see both Solar and Reynor playing Zerg this time around. Now, earlier I mentioned that Solar is not a big fan of macro games in ZVP. He's also not a big fan of macro games in ZVZ. And now I hear you think, well, what about ZVT? Well, actually in Zerg versus Terran, Solar seems to be completely okay with playing these long macro games. Ling Bane focused, Hydra Ling Bane, late game lurkers. He loves all of it. So it's really matchup specific that he doesn't like or likes it. And in ZVZ, I can't recall which tournament it was. But there was a tournament in which I believe he did 16 all-ins in ZVZ in a row or something like that. Or 12 all-ins. It was like a ridiculous number. And we just kept counting up. And everyone was watching and he just was rotating these different types of all-ins. Every now and again a Roach all-in, and Ling Bane Roach, pure Ling Bane. Roachling, Ravagerling. You know, as long as it's not above 45 drones. Solar was pretty down with it, generally. So we're gonna go for a Roach Warren. No Banelings quite yet. Okay, we're gonna get 2 Banelings out right now. And it's going to be Reynor who will make the first aggressive move on the map. At least scouting a little bit here. Second gas coming in for Solar. No lair quite yet. No Evo Chamber either for either player, by the way. Ooh, we get a full scout right now. Get a full scout over here as well. So this is 2 full scouts. And lair starts for Solar. Not quite what I had expected. Third gas on the way at an instant as well. I'd almost be expecting an Evo Chamber at some point in the near future as Lynx continue running across looking for any type of clue as to what is going on. Reynor's adding a Roach Warren already. We have two more gases coming in. So that's 4 gas. Low worker count here. Which feels like it should be pretty easy to scout. So Reynor's actually gonna scout this. Sees that there's only 3 drones here and sees a Roach. Reynor has 11 drones on his own third base, but that is mainly because he's also down 2 gases right now. So Reynor could interpret this as an all-in. He says, hey, you hardly have any workers. What the hell is going on? Double Baneling run by is gonna come in. Sees a couple more drones pop. But he's already built a line of Roaches right now. 6 more drones coming in. No +1, by the way, on the way for Solar. Who is gonna rush into a Spire here. Oh, this has been one of the tricks that we have seen played as of late. So it's going to be quick Roach speed into Spire into 6 gas. So it's going to be a very high gas count. Reynor's going to be scouting this, but also sees the Roaches. I do not actually know how to interpret this information, and I don't think Reynor knows how to interpret it either. I mean, he has his own lair that is done. He has Roach speed on the way. He has +1 range that is on the way as well. But the problem here is going to be the fact that he will fight against Mutas without any serious anti-air. We get Overlord speed coming out right now as the Overseer is going to hit the main base. Will not necessarily get a full scout as to what is kicking off. Not get the full information, the full read. Gonna get a partial read. Let's see, is he gonna continue in? He's gonna continue, does see the Spire and knows enough. So there's a couple of things that can happen right now. I'm expecting a Hydra then. I'm expecting extra queens. But I am not seeing the extra queens quite yet. Fourth base on the way as well here, as the first Mutas are now going to pop out. Evo Chamber comes out here too. And there are a lot of different variations that Solar can kind of go for from here on out, by the way. Like, just because he's committing into Muta doesn't mean it has to be Lingbane Muta. It's all going to depend on what will come out of this Evo Chamber. So, Evo Chamber can start +1 melee, can start +1 range. It's going to be +1 melee. Okay, it's actually going to be Muta Lingbane. Which is wild because he has such a large amount of Roaches early on in the game, right? 16 Roaches to start things off with. That's a lot of gas that is being wasted in Roaches. It's the equivalent of gas of, what is that, 4 Mutas extra? 25 gas per Roach. Does seem to be accurate here. As the Tunneling Claws is going to come out. Some type of a counter-attack measure. Overlord speed is going to allow this OV to drag these Mutas away from the main base, at least for a little bit. As the Spore is up on this fort, look at the Roaches attack. This is actually a really cute play out of Solar, which I don't think Reynor had seen coming. Get an attack over here on the fort base, kills the Spore, and that's actually going to seriously make it difficult right now for Reynor to actually hold this base. The Muta count is at 13, the Hydra count at 8. There's no Spore here for extra defense, and the Roaches are going to instantly move over towards the third base, where there's not that many Roaches on Reynor's side of things. Get a bit of a trade here. At the same time, we jump on top of the Hydras, and if the Hydras die, there's just not going to be enough anti-air to deal with these Mutalisks. Every single Hydra will end up falling, and that should be the end right now of the fort base defense. Reynor goes for a full-on counter-attack as he says, hey, I cannot defend, but can you defend my attack? And I don't actually know if Solar can. He has a lot of links that are being built. Has a lot of links that are chasing, but Mutas are going to continue chasing this topside army as well. How many Mutas do we have right now? We have 14 Mutas, +1 is about to finish up. A couple of Tunneling Claws, Roaches making their way over across the map. And this is just such an awkward setup right now as these Spores are being targeted down. I think this base is toast. No defense, though, for these Tunneling Claw Roaches. Do we have enough Hydras to defend anything? No, 9 Hydras total. I mean, these spores are absolutely vital at this point, as the Lings are going to move into the main base as well. Defensively, not a whole lot available for Reynor. Oh, sorry, for Solar. Reynor gets a right-click on this spore. Doesn't go down, but the Mutas kind of camp the ramp and will clear a lot of these Hydras. Reynor gets 4 or 5 worker kills. It's probably not going to be good enough, as the supplies are even. Tends to not be great for the Roach player. Mutas are a little bit more expensive than Roaches are. Hydras are going to get taken out once more. And so far, how many Hydras? 22 Hydras have fallen, and only 13 Mutas have gone down. And that is absolutely fantastic here. As long as the critical mass of Hydras is not being reached, Mutas are just going to reign supreme. As right now, perhaps an attack onto the Hydra then is even a viable option. But that means no more Hydra production whatsoever. Currently, we only have 9 of them out, with 6 more on the way. I don't know a whole lot, but this is going to be tough. At the same time, the Roach counterattack is still dealing a lot of damage. A couple of Roaches in the main base getting worker kills as well. This fort base is being rampaged too right now. And if Reynor ever manages to stabilize, he is going to be up about 15 workers. Roach is still running rampant with the superior upgrades. Might be capable of actually doing something here. So he runs into the natural. Let's see. Do we get an unburrow? Yep, we get an unburrow. Another burrow into the main base as well. It's actually winning a lot of time with this too. The problem is that his Hydra then still has been taken out. And for whatever reason, Reynor, yeah, I think he forgot to rebuild it. I think he forgot to rebuild it for quite a while there. Because these guys are going to unburrow. These guys are going to unburrow as well. Get quite a bit of damage into the main base. A couple more workers going down. Could maybe split burrow these. One stays in the bottom right. One moves towards the top right here. Okay, we're just going to move straight towards the top right. The Overseer is not quite going to catch it. We still have a Roach sharking around in this bottom side as well. Solar has rebuilt a lot of his drones. Solar is going for a Baneling run by as well into this third base, as lurkers have now been produced. We have 2 lurkers out into the natural. More spores coming in as well. I just don't see a way to deal with the Mutalisk count. There is no infestation pit yet. There's not a significant Hydralisk force. There are no infestors out on the map, so there's no way to catch these Mutas or to even discourage them from going anywhere. Banelings now rolling in are going to get a lot of kills on the drones, and I think that there's really no way anymore for Reynor to hold at this point, as the Mutas are going to find some damage in the main base most likely. There are 2 spores, but that's not going to be good enough, because 2 spores without any assistance, without any support whatsoever, is not going to keep this base alive. Lair now being targeted down. That thing most likely is going to fall. This base is in some serious trouble as more and more Lings are making their way across the map. A couple of Roaches still alive as well. This Hydra count in and by itself is not going to be good enough. The Queens need to help out too. Infestation Pit does finish up. We get our first Infestor out, but worker count heavily in favor of Solar at this point. He's managed to drone back up. He's going to look for some vulnerable angles, and I think he's just going to find them as well. There just isn't a whole lot that Reynor can do right now. Down 60 supply. Inferior army composition, inferior tech, Hive already on the way. One of the things that I haven't seen yet, but I'm really curious about, is going to be these Ultralisk with the Microbial Shroud in the late game. Muta Ling Bane into Ultra Microbial Shroud seems to be the ultimate composition in ZVZ late game. And I'm very curious if this is one of these comps that is actually going to be capable of beating Sero as well. Sero was the actual goat of Hydra Viper Lurker. But Ultralisk Microbial seems to be a little bit better in my mind. Yes, I don't think it's something that's going to be necessary in this particular game, as 20 more drones go down. Reynor down to 92 supply against 165 of Solar. And after winning game number 1 with a tight Hydra Ling all-in off of 5 gases, Solar now is in firm control of this game with a high drone Ling Bane Muta composition going into the Hive. And he's fighting against someone that has half of the anti-airs he has Muta units. I think there's freaking 10 Hydras versus 20 Mutas. Infestors are going to be good, but without Vipers, without a serious Lurker force out on the map, I don't quite understand what's going to be happening here that would make this game playable whatsoever for Reynor. Yeah, but, like, there's just not really a timer anymore where it's like, if I get 12 Lurkers, I'm going to win this game. It's more like, if Solar disconnects and gets a stroke at the same time, there is a chance that Reynor still has a chance, but I'm not really feeling it right now. As every Lurker's being sniped, Overseer is gonna fall, but new Overseers are here to back it up. Ling Mura is gonna be good enough. GG gets caught, and Solar's gonna win this series with a 2-0 score.